A very warm welcome to my channel. This is your personal English coach Divyam here, and this is your favorite channel, Professor DC, where English is made easy. In this video, I'm going to explain the chapter The Little Girl, which is in your Beehive textbooks, CBSE grade 9. So let's get right into it. I'm going to highlight the sentences but tell you the meaning without reading the sentence itself. So let's start with the first sentence. Now, there is a girl called Kezia. To Kezia, her father wasn't someone warm or friendly. He was scary. Just the thought of him made her nervous. She did everything she could to stay away from him. Now, he would give her a quick emotionless kiss before leaving for work, and she would reply politely but without feeling, just saying, "Goodbye, father," like a routine. And the sound of his carriage faded into distance. She felt a huge wave of relief. It was like a burden had been lifted. She could finally breathe easily once he was gone. As the day ended, fear crept back. She would quietly wait by the stairs, listening as his deep voice filled the house again. His commands echoed in the house. He never asked nicely. Everything was in order: tea, paper, slippers. That's how he was, strict and bossy. Kezia. Mother would call to her. So this is the next sentence. Mother tried to encourage Kezia to be obedient. She made it sound like a reward, getting to help father by removing his boots. But Kezia didn't look forward to it. She moved like someone going to face danger, step by step, nervous and slow. When he looked at her over his glasses, she felt like he could see right through her. That stare was enough to scare her stiff. Even his simple questions made her anxious. He spoke sharply, and his words never felt kind. She stammered every time she answered. His nervousness took over, and the words just wouldn't come out right. Instead of understanding her fear, he made her feel worse. He didn't realize he was the reason she stammered. Around others, she spoke just fine, but with him, she wanted so badly to speak well, to impress him, that her fear made her stutter. He saw her sadness but misunderstood it. Instead of being gentle, he said she looked like she might do something drastic. Then, without a pause, he handed her the teacup, as if feelings didn't matter. Let's take the next sentence as well. So, to little Kezia, her father wasn't just strict. He felt huge, like a giant from a fairy tale. Just thinking of him made her heart race. Every week, her grandmother hoped she would bond with her parents. Sunday was supposed to be the time for warm family conversations. Instead of talking or playing with her, her father would be fast asleep, using the best cushions for comfort. Her mother was lost in her book. So much for, in double quotes, family time. And there's a nice picture given in your textbook which shows exactly what we read and understood. So you can see this is Kezia, this is her father, and here is her mother. So is this family time? Not at all. You can see the father fast asleep and her mother lost in some kind of newspaper or book. Next sentence. She would sit there silently watching and waiting, and when he finally woke up, all she got was a look and a question about time. Even then, instead of affection, he commented on how she looked, comparing her to an owl. She didn't know if it was an insult or not, but it did not feel kind. Grandmother, ever thoughtful, gave her a sweet idea. Make something for father. A gift, handmade with love, might help build a bridge between them. Kezia worked hard, carefully sewing the yellow silk with thick thread. It wasn't easy, but she wanted to make it special. She had sewn the sides but did not know what to stuff it with. That was the missing piece. With no one to ask, she started by searching on her own. Maybe she'd find some soft cloth pieces. She found some clean paper. Without knowing they were important, she ripped them up, thinking they were just scrap. She happily finished her gift. That night there were a hue and cry in the house, which means suddenly the whole house was in chaos. Something had gone wrong, very wrong. And what was that? It turned out those papers, they were the speech her father had worked hard on. His important work gone. Rooms were searched, servants questioned. It means everyone was being questioned. The whole house turned upside down looking for the lost speech. And then they suspected the little girl. And there comes a question. Her mother asked carefully, hoping the answer wasn't what she feared. Innocently, proudly, Kezia confessed. She didn't realize yet what she'd done. She has no realization of what disastrous work she has done or she has committed. But the reaction wasn't pride or delight, it was panic and fury. Kezia was taken to her father, who was walking angrily, lost in worry and frustration. His tone was harsh, no warmth, just demand. The truth came out. It was Kezia. He froze, looked at her, and not in a good way. His voice cut through the air like a knife. She tried to deny it, scared out of her mind. He cursed. He didn't want excuses. He just wanted her punished. She was broken, crying quietly in her room, the soft evening light only making her sadness feel deeper. The worst fear came true. He didn't just yell, he came to beat her. There was no room for mistake. He wasn't calming down. She begged, tried to hide, terrified. but he wasn't going to let her off. He believed she had to learn, and his way of teaching was through pain. She cried, trying to explain it was meant to be a gift. But the explanation did not matter. The punishment felt hard. Later, in her grandmother's comforting arms, Kezia tried to feel safe again. It was a question filled with pain. Why would someone meant to love her be so cruel? Grandmother did her best to soothe her, but Kezia knew this memory would not go away. And she didn't. It left a mark deep and lasting. She still feared him. She still blushed when she saw him. The distance between them had grown even more. But next door, the world looked very different. There, life was full of laughter. Kezia would peek through and watch. A happy family, something she longed for. The father wasn't a figure to fear. He was fun, full of life, surrounded by joy. He played along. Even when soaked, he laughed. That's when she realized not all fathers were like hers. Some were gentle, playful, and loving. And what happens next? Then something unexpected happened. Her mother got sick, and both she and grandma had to leave for hospital. At first, it wasn't so bad. During the day, Kezia stayed with Alice, the cook. The house didn't feel too scary when the sun was up. So, on my screen, you can see the neighbor's house, and the neighbor is McDonald was the name. Yes, it is the neighbor's house. McDonald's who live next door, and you can see all of them, laughing, playing, and even when he is tired, he is still having fun. And that was the observation made by Kezia. Continuing from where we left. So what we discussed is the fact that something unexpected happens, and her mother got sick. Both she and grandma had to leave for hospital, and initially it wasn't so bad. During the day, Kezia stayed with Alice the cook. The house did not feel too scary when the sun was up, and then as the night fell, fear crept in again. The dark, the silence, the loneliness. It all felt too big. Her voice trembled. She told Alice about her dreams, the scary ones, and how grandma always comforted her. She hated the whispery shadows of the dark. But Alice wasn't as warm. She told her to just sleep and warned her not to wake her father. And sure enough, the nightmare returned. That terrifying butcher with his wicked grin chasing her in her dream. She was frozen in fear, calling for her grandma with all her might. But this time it wasn't her grandmother. It was him, her father, standing there quietly, holding a candle. Something about his presence was different. "What's the matter?" he said. So no shouting, no scolding, just a simple question filled with concern. She whimpered, still caught between the dream and real life. She wanted her safety. She wanted her grandma. But to her surprise, her father didn't turn away. He gently picked her up and carried her, strong, steady, silent. He laid her in his bed, put away his reading, and tugged her in slowly and gently. She was still scared, but lying there, she moved closer to him. She rested her head under his arm, held on to him, and in that moment, she felt safe. Her fears began to fade. The nightmare was gone. She wasn't scared anymore. He whispered to her kindly, making sure she was warm. She felt a kind of care she hadn't seen before. He fell asleep quickly, probably from long day's work. She lay there next to him, still wide awake. She looked at him differently now. He wasn't a giant anymore, just a man. Tired, alone. No one took care of him. Yes, he was strict, but maybe it came from responsibility, not cruelty. There was a warmth hidden behind that hardness. Maybe he was not maybe he was not playful like the neighbor's dad, but that's because he had so much on his shoulders. She remembered the speech, how hard he must have worked. Her heart filled with guilt and understanding at once. Even half asleep, he noticed her sigh. He cared. She whispered her thoughts, her head resting on his chest. She could hear his heartbeat, and in that beat she found something she never expected: love. And that's the end of the story, my dear friends. From fear to understanding, from a distant, towering figure to a man with a big heart, Kezia discovered something most of us realize only as we grow older. Sometimes love doesn't always look the way we expect it to, but it's there, quiet, steady, and strong.